Silence No More is a community-based group with the vision to educate the public on issues of domestic violence against men, women, and children. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with one of the coordinators, Miss Petra McSheene-Morton. Good morning, Petra, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning, thanks.
It is indeed our pleasure to have you. So Silence No More, what can you tell us about the group's name?
Silence No More. Okay, we started in 2013. We started out with the name Woman to Woman, where we were more focused on just women. But we changed the name in 2017 to Silence No More, so we could incorporate men and children, because men get abused as well.
And so does children.
Yes.
So when it speaks to silence, that means we're going to speak up now. Silence No More. We're going to speak up now.
Yes.
Okay.
Just curious as to, again, you mentioned the name change, but I'm wondering, was there a push within your organization to change that name, or was it just you wanting to cast that net wider?
Well, it was a push because we were getting complaints from men that we were only focusing on women. So we wanted them not to feel left out, because, you know, when you hear the name Woman to Woman, it's just basically woman. Yeah. So
all right, so you responded.
The members got together and we decided that we're going to change the name to something more neutral to incorporate men and children.
All right. Follow-up question for you. There's so many different causes, obviously, that an organization can focus on. Why did you decide to advocate against domestic violence?
Because I'm a survivor of domestic violence.
Empathy is.
Well, we are glad that you survived.
7 years of living hell. And then after I got out of my situation, I realized that there's nobody really speaking up about it, because when I was in my situation and I made reports to the police station, it was like it just gets swept under the rug and ignored. And my ex, he was friends with some of the police officers, so they will let him know that I came to make a report and everything. So I'm glad I got out of it.
I'm glad that you got out.
All my limbs intact and everything.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to go a little deeper. Why do persons that experience domestic abuse stay that long?
Well, it's different factors that they stay. I mean, people like to say, oh, if you're being abused, just leave him. But it's not that easy as to just leave, because sometimes you have to watch the financial situation, if there's children involved, and also if you don't have anywhere else to go, if you don't have any families to turn to. All those are different factors. People stay for different reasons. We find women stay in relationships because of the children, and the man is the main breadwinner. So if they leave the man, they don't get any support for them, the children, they don't have any money. Sometimes the family shun them, so they won't have anywhere to go, so they stay in the situation for a home and for money.
Yeah, and in fact, I figured that was one of the things that causes people to say the finances, obviously, because it's a case where, from what I understand, and I only understand it from the outside, but it's a power type relationship where you're dependent on someone else, and so they exert power over you in so many different ways.
Just because some of the men, they just break you down in so many ways, you just start to believe, I can do nothing without him.
And that you can't speak as well, which is where the name comes in, so very important. So apart from how you found your voice, how do you help other people to find their voices?
I try to let them know that they can assert themselves, speak up for themselves, use I statements. If you're in a relationship and you don't like something, you use strong I statements to state that I don't like this, or I don't like that, I don't like how you speak to me, I don't like how you treat me. I statements.
You affirm your self-worth, and you speak on behalf of yourself. I'm understanding you. Thank you.
We had a recent incident that resulted in someone's being killed. And I mean, taking a life is not an easy feat for anyone. But with the police not taking reports serious, yes, they might say, oh, you're going to go back to your person, but it is still their duty to deal with it. Where else can women, men, and children go to report stuff when we're supposed to be reporting to the ones who are supposed to protect us, and they don't take us seriously at times?
The main place that they can go to the Special Victims Unit, or they can go to Gender Affairs.
All right, so let's talk about, I think we've touched on it before, the mission and the vision of the group. If there's anything else that you'd like to add, now would be the time to say so.
Well, October is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, even though a lot of people don't really focus on it. Everybody knows saying this, when it comes to October, everybody focuses on breast cancer and elderly, and domestic violence get pushed to the backbone. So this month, and every year, we have activities in October. But due to funding, we only focusing on 2 activities that we're doing. We are having our 4th annual breakfast symposium and also Candlelight Vigil. Some of the members are going to church on Sunday.
Which church?
Keon Church of God.
Okay, what time?
8:30. If you want to come, you can just come and wear purple. Wear something purple.
Okay, good stuff. So beside the camp, what other forms of community outreach has this group organized?
Like I said, we do the breakfast symposium, and the breakfast symposium is where we have a list of persons who passed due to domestic violence incidents. And what we try to do, we present their family members with food baskets and some words of encouragement, stuff like that. That's an annual thing. And during the symposium, we also have presenters speaking on different aspects of domestic violence. This year, we're going to have Pastor Benjamin Brown speaking on domestic violence in the church.
Wow, okay, you really are pushing barriers there, because not only is Pastor Brown a captivating speaker, but the fact that you are speaking to it within the church, within that
Because
body.
a lot of people feel like there's no domestic violence in church, and there is, because some couples, you may see them come to church every Sunday and looking all happy. You don't know if the man is being abused, you don't know if the woman is being abused. So that's a topic that needs to be touched.
Humans are humans. Is domestic violence only physical, though?
No, I think physical is like the last step.
Okay.
But domestic violence is sexual, emotional, psychological, financial. And anyone that speaks to us, all our conversations are strictly confidential. There's nowhere you will hear it on the road.
So, Petra, are there any other events that we should be aware of?
We also have the Candlelight Vigil on the 14th. The Candlelight Vigil is where we come out with candles and we just remember those who pass as a result of domestic violence. Not only that, we also light a candle for those who are in the situation and can't do anything about it as well. Okay. Just to invite people out to the Candlelight Vigil, bring a candle, wear something purple, just to remember, just to stand up and say, okay, enough is enough. We have to put a stop to this.
All right, where's it going to be?
It's going to be on Bank Street.
Bank Street at what time?
At 5.
At 5, okay, yes. So Candlelight Vigil, Bank Street, October 14th.
Yes.
Is there any help available for women who want to get out of the domestic violence situation that they're in?
Like I said earlier, they can always contact the Special Victims Unit. They can contact the Gender Affairs. And there's also a women's shelter, the Garden of Rebirth, but they have to go through certain tapes to get through there.
All right, question, because as you asked the question, Cortense, I remember what Petra said earlier. It's not just about women, but it's also about men and children. And the thought just occurred to me, you're talking about children in this situation. They might be underage. So while we're focusing on women, we're assuming, of course, that there might be a maternal figure in the home to, speak to these things. But what if there isn't? What if you're just in a situation where there are children and the children are left, to deal with the brunt of whatever that violence is? Where do they go? Who do they talk to?
That's it. And usually when the women come out of the situation, our children, we try to get them to get a counselor, because it's traumatic for the children and they can grow up to be either an abuser or grow up to be abused. So when there's children involved, there needs to be a lot of counseling for the children, so they don't have the trauma to live with.
Absolutely right.
Have children, for those children that were abused, are they ever removed from their home and placed at the children's home?
Yes, in some cases.
Do you know the effect that it would have had on them, or you're not?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's different for different people, and pretty much I'm sure you'd say that. But it's this whole scary thought, and I'm really glad that your group is bringing awareness to it, because as you rightly said, and you shocked me when you talked about, of course, back to Pastor Ben Brown, domestic violence in the church, the fact that you were, not that it doesn't happen there, but that the conversation is being started as to, well, it does occur in places where you think it doesn't, and you need to do certain things about it. What do you want the public to know most of all about the issue of domestic violence? That's your camera.
Most of all, what I want the public to know about domestic violence, it doesn't discriminate. That's the top thing. People feel like, okay, I might be living a high-class life, so I'm not in the situation. Or I might be living a low-class, like, tough girl, so that can happen to me. But domestic violence does not discriminate. It can happen to anybody, black, white, male, female, anybody. So there's no particular section of people that are being abused and the other is not being abused.
Okay, traditionally, when we think of domestic violence, and you were right, when your group first came up, it was about men, abusing women, abusing children, and so on. But there is, to hear you share your story, there is a sense of responsibility that I feel is to, well, how do we as males regulate our behavior?
Well, that's difficult because I can't speak from a man's point of view. I can speak from a woman's point of view, but I feel like a lot of men, they are not in touch with their emotions. So they don't really know how to handle their emotions. Maybe they go up seeing their father abusing their mother, and they say, okay, that's the norm. So they go up and do the same thing. So then I think men don't really know how to get in touch with their emotions, and they don't know how to handle emotion.
Well, guess what? And you're hitting the nail on the head to some degree, but that word handle got on my nerves just now, and I'll tell you why, because it consists of the hand, and you need to keep your hands to yourself.
Yes.
Seriously. There are ways that you treat with people, the ways that you treat different people, you gotta learn, So that's why I said to you, so it wasn't a question for you to answer per se, but it was a way of saying that as men, perhaps speaking to other men out there, that there are things that we need to do as men to control ourselves so that we don't put other people, and women as well.
Well, what men like to do when they get together, they either watch sports, play sports, drink a few beers, just get in a comfort zone for men. Something that they like to even go to the barber. They go to the barber and they can speak to their barber about what is going on, and barbers can be good psychologists.
Yes.
Oh, so I've heard. Hairdressers
Barbers
too.
and hairdressers, yes. They're very good psychologists because that is where you let your guard down and you're just in your comfort zone and you speak and you get advice. Sometimes good advice, sometimes bad advice, but it's up to you to whether you want to take it or just straight to the window.
Yeah.
But the number one thing you have to do is speak out, speak to somebody. You just can't stay silent and expect something to happen. That's why we came up with the name. Silence no more. Like it's enough. It's enough silence. Too much people are staying quiet. Too much things are getting swept under the rug. The perpetrators are not getting the punishments that they should. So it's just enough is enough.
I'll add this one to the ring. I don't want anybody to know.
Yeah, because they can look at me differently, especially in the
perception,
church.
Right? A lot of it. How much of it is perception do you find? Not wanting people to know what you're going through.
I would say that's a lot. That's like 80%, because in St. Kitts, a lot of us have this reputation to live up to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of us in St. Kitts, we live up to a reputation. So people see us outside and in the public, and they see this person that is always happy-go-lucky, always smiling. But when you get home and you're by yourself and you look in the mirror, it's like you only have yourself to face, and you have to face the reality of what you're going through. So a lot of people live in perceptive reality.
Wow.
Because they have a reputation to uphold. So even if it could be from a man instantly. if a man is a big footballer, everybody see him as a good footballer, and he's always the life of the party and stuff like that. But when he gets home, he's been abused by his girlfriend. How is he supposed to talk about that?
Yeah.
Who is going to believe him?
Nobody. Boy, he's a punk. That's the first thing they're going to tell him.
Exactly.
You've painted a picture right now. I imagine some people are listening who are afraid to go home, but they're glad that you mentioned it because they understand that there is a community.
Yeah, there is a community.
Part of. So again, Petra, how do people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me via our Facebook page, which is Silence No More SKN. They can get in touch with me via email, which is sknsilencenomore@outlook.com, or via my phone numbers, 869-669-1983 or 764-4068.